All right, so moving on, we're going to the product category management section. This section has three options: the category management, which is where you manage all your categories for your products; your product management, which allows you to add and edit and delete also products that are in the system; and the price lists. The category and product management system, areas are very thorough and detailed and completed. The price list section is still in progress, but it still has a lot of details, so we'll go into that. The category management, when we hop into there, you'll notice it's got a couple of different options: to add new category and edit existing category. All this is the names of the categories. The subcategories are categories that are sub underneath a parent category, so you'll see what I mean. When I go to add a new category, you get to choose which section it belongs to, because in the product management area, you have different templates for what specifically you're able to enter. So we're gonna add a category for a finished product, and we're gonna call this websites. Okay. When I submit that, it's now part of the system. So you'll see what happens. It shows me the detail of what's in the category section. And what details. Now you'll notice the last one here is the websites. So if I want to edit it, I can either click here or go to category management, edit existing category, which brings you to the same place. So if I click on websites, I can change the name of it, what section it actually belongs to, that kind of thing. So now if I go back in here and I want to add a new subcategory to websites, I can choose which one of the categories there are here. Okay, and in here, you'll notice websites is an option because it gives you all the parent category names. So in here, I'll say database system. Okay, if I click submit, you'll notice that now that subcategory exists and it tells you what category it actually belongs to. This is also the same thing as the edit subcategory section. So moving on to the product management area. When I click on the product management area, it asks me if I want to add a new one or edit existing. If I click add a new product, it'll bring me to add product section. Edit existing, it'll bring me to edit, which will show me a big chart, which you'll see in a little while. When you click edit, add new product, you'll notice here's the first option, which is finished product or textile, which is the type of product it is. So if I choose finished product, which it already is by default, it has these specific fields that exist. Okay, if I want to add more fields, that's something that you would need to speak with your administrator about. As far as a textile, you notice that when I select textile, the entire list of options changes. Most of these fields do not apply for a finished product. So we're going to go ahead and enter a textile here. So we're going to say, okay, the product name is NST. Okay, the fabrics, you're able to edit the fabrics themselves. The same thing as a dynamic drop-down as previous. We're just going to say it's a fabric. You're able to select which supplier it actually belongs, okay, in this system. So what we'll do also is we'll make sure that this list of suppliers is alphabetical. The category itself, so I choose which one it belongs to. Now, as part of this category list, it's the same as the category list from before. So if I choose, in this case, I'm going to say it's a textile. You'll see it populates over here. It's starting to populate to look for a subcategory if it exists. So in this case, it looks like it doesn't exist because it's kind of circling and not finding anything. So if it did exist and there was a product that already existed there, I can actually select it. See, you can see that there's no subcategory for it. Now, in this case, there is a product template that already exists in the textile category with no subcategory, and it's called R701 Junior. Now, you'll notice when I select it, it populates all the details down below with all of the information that was selected for this particular product, which is the R701 Junior. Okay, so if I select none, you'll know that everything else is undefined. Okay, which is something we're going to enter. So we're going to say it's new anyway. Okay, so weaving looms, I'm just going to say I'm not going to have anything in there. It's a textile finishing type. And a lot of this detail I don't have anything for, so I'm not going to plug anything in. But you'll notice the density, you're able to put information in, the width and what type of width it is. The selvage options, these are radio buttons, so you can select one or the other. If it is other, you'll have a field here that will appear. the weight type, whether it's grams per meter squared or something else. So in this case, we're just going to say here, I'm going to say 200. The die type, have many options in here, which you can edit the die type and add one. Die process, which is the same thing, you can add one. Wet ratio and dry ratio for color fastness. Now the composition, these are all numbers from 1 to 100. It's percentages. So you would say if it's 100% polyester, you would scroll down and say it's 100% polyester. Okay. Minimum quantity per SKU, you would identify a number. If there is a minimum order quantity, you would enter it in here, why there would be. What the packaging is, what the packing is, what the production time is, how long it takes the supplier to create it for within 20 foot. The volume. Now the volume is very important, but more so here where the unit definition occurs. Tariff code is specifically for US and specific notes, which I'm going to say in here, this is a test product. Unit definition. Now this is extremely important that you need to identify this, otherwise you really can't select and have it pre-populate the data and auto-calculate volume on the purchase order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the unit definition is yards, okay? And the cost per unit is 50, okay? And the CBM, which is the volume, okay, is, I'm going to say just 1, okay? Now if I click add another, you'll notice it gives another line. Now this is important if you want to have a choice between yards and meters on the purchase order or the order confirmation, because some particular customers and suppliers use different unit definitions. So I'm going to say meters here. Okay, and the cost per unit here for meters, what you should probably do is use your calculator to figure out what specifically the cost would be. I'm not sure exactly how you would do it, but a yard and a meter are different. So meter, I'm just going to label as something a little different there. The terms of purchase, FOB port is fine. Valid until is a very good field here. This field allows you to say when the price that you've selected here is valid until. Now that doesn't mean that I'm going to say it's going to be good until the 10th. Now what that means is that if I'm going to create an order past the 10th, on the purchase order, it'll notify you. It'll still allow you to place the order, but it'll notify you that the cost that's already in the system might be out of date. So you'll notice when I click submit, it brings me over to my edit existing product management screen, okay? And it's sorted by product type, then by category name, then by product name. So it sorts by print and finished products first. Now, my text, it's a textile, and we called the product, it was a textile, but we called the product NST, and you'll notice it's right here. So one of the things that we have allowed in the system is if you roll over the product itself, it shows you kind of a preview about what the product is and what the details are here. So a lot of the information is in here, okay? UPC factory number and supplier code would appear if you were selecting a specific supplier and what they were, and here's the code, that kind of stuff. The details show up in this area, okay? So in this spot, when you go to edit, okay, if I clicked on this to edit this particular item, you'll notice all the detail that I plugged into here is still here, along with my unit definitions. It also tells me what the price history is, okay, what I've selected, what appears here, what the details are. So if I go to add another, okay, and I say it is a box of these would be $100, okay, and the CBM would be 2. Okay, if I submit, now I scroll down, I have my particular item here. If I click into it, you'll notice here that it adds my price history that I just added that, okay, on this date and by this user, what the cost was. So if I change this one, you'll notice what happens. If I say it's $36 for a cost per unit, I'm going to submit that. When I go down and in, back in here, you'll notice it tells me that I changed meters to $36 on this date. So it's got a history of all the price changes throughout the time that you've had the system. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the product management, edit existing, and here's my items. Now the other thing you can notice here is that there is an option here. Now none of the items are locked, but if someone is inside that product, you'll be able to go in there, but you can't do anything with it. It's locked. So it'll say unlock. So if you click unlock, it will allow you to be able to notify that user or find out which user in particular is using it. You also have the delete option, so you can go in there. Now we're moving into the price lists area. Now the price list, you can pick and choose which list type you're using because obviously the fields are different. So if I click textiles, okay, it allows me to select the category first, which in this case I'm going to select textile. And I'm going to select the supplier, okay, and here's the code that I've entered. Product particular. Now you'll notice all the details that I have here appear going across. Anything that I've entered on the system appears throughout this entire price list. Okay, and this is one line. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm able to add another row, add another row, add another row, add another row. So what I could do too going forward is I could say, all right, I want to shade this particular product, this area green, so I can shade the colors. So the detail is it's very detailed, and I can add multiple items going down to make it simple. Okay, I can add notes. I could add a name for the price list. Okay, I could select which client this would belong to. I can email this to any of the Elfa reps and the client, and I can save the price list. You'll notice there are previous price lists here going down, and if I select one of them, you'll notice the detail for that price list is here. The purpose of it is so that you can go ahead and print this in a preview option, which I'm going to choose the particular supplier so you can see. But if I choose it, oh, I don't have any kind of product entered. So if I wanted to preview it, it allows me to export it into an XLS, which is an Excel file. So if I say OK here, it won't allow me to do it because this is an older file, but you're able to jump back in and make whatever changes you want and then store this price list and save it and print it and do all kinds of different things. You also have a refresh option, which allows you to refresh all the prices that are set on that particular price list to the most current prices. So this way you can print one and have an older one, but also have the newer one.